I saw you come this far. Not a single step was in vain. No distraction prevented you from hearing what is now being revealed, because what you are about to receive did not come from men, but from my own voice. I called you in silence, through signs, dreams, premonitions, and even pain, and you came even without understanding why. Now you understand. It was I who drew you. It was I who moved every detail so that this moment could exist. While many go through life without noticing my presence, you were set apart to perceive the invisible. There is something within you that has always felt there is more, something beyond bills, tiredness, and monotonous days. And that is what I call you to today, to live the abundance that I prepared even before you took your first breath. It was no coincidence. It was no algorithm. It was a calling. You were called to hear the truth that sets you free, the decree that breaks scarcity, the word that transforms lack into fullness. And as you listen, something within you begins to awaken. The words I speak are not sound, they are spirit. And when my spirit touches yours, the impossible begins to move. Today I tell you, your soul was prepared for this encounter. You thought you were seeking answers, but you were found by the origin of them all. You thought you were looking for light, but it was the light that was looking for you. What brought you here was the desire of heaven itself to change your story. Because the time has come when that which limited you can no longer remain. There are spiritual keys that I only give to those who have the courage to persevere. And one of those keys is being placed in your hands now. Do not fear the weight of change. When I choose someone to manifest abundance, I do not do so to show them off, but to demonstrate through them how faithful my name is. What they once called luck, they will now see as purpose. Don't look at what you lack. Look at what I am about to multiply. There are seeds, you, planted in tears that are now germinating under my command. Even when you thought nothing was happening, I watched every gesture, every act of faith, every moment you decided to persevere, even when truly weary. I saw your effort to silence fear and keep hope alive, and now it is harvest time. When I open a door, no man can shut it. And today, I open one before you, invisible to the eyes, but real to the spirit. It is the door of abundance, of favor, and of fullness. From this moment on, your life will align with the flow of my provision. Nothing that was lost will be forgotten, because each absence will become the setting for a new outpouring. Feel the weight of my presence now. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about connection. I'm talking about the connection between what you created in faith and what I prepared in response. What you are hearing is more than words. It is the sound of restoration entering your atmosphere. I chose you not for your strength, but for your ability to recognize my voice, even amidst the noise of the world. Let me guide the next steps. Don't try to understand everything, just believe. What brought you here wasn't curiosity, it was destiny. The same spirit that called you is now activating gifts, awakening visions, opening paths. The faith that is born in this moment will not be fleeting. It will be the foundation for everything I will yet do. I tell you, no delay will rob you of what has already been released. No dissenting voice will annul what has already been decreed. What I have begun, I myself will sustain. While you listen, something invisible is changing. Where there was heaviness, lightness will come. Where there was scarcity, multiplication will spring forth. This is the beginning of your new season. I chose you not to merely survive, but to reign over what once oppressed you. I lift you from the dust of limitations and place you on the ground of abundance. This is my promise. What was stagnant will now move under. my breath. Comment with faith, I was ready to hear your voice. Thus you seal the beginning of this transformation. Breathe and feel. The same power that created the universe is enveloping you now. You are within my purpose, and nothing can take you away from what I have prepared. Do not fear the new season. I will be with you in every detail. What began today will have no end, because the abundance that comes from me never runs out. Not everyone can bear to hear what I am about to reveal. Many listen out of curiosity, few remain out of faith. But you stayed. You stayed even when you didn't understand the silence, even when nothing seemed to change, even when your prayer seemed to echo unanswered. And that is why now I show you what others cannot see. There is a measure of revelation that is only released to those who do not give up halfway. Persistence opens doors that haste closes. You have been tested by time, by the voices of doubt, by the disappointments of human promises. I saw when you thought of giving up. I saw when you said, I've tried everything, and yet you continued to believe. That invisible movement of your soul drew my presence. You became a vessel prepared to contain what others pour out. I do not deposit mystery in distracted hearts, but in steadfast spirits. Now I reveal to you, the secret to abundance lies not in human effort, but in spiritual perseverance. He who remains in me, even when weary, bears fruit without understanding how. Because the power is not in your hands, it is in my constancy. And when I see that your faith remains alive, even without immediate results, I open the heavens above you. The abundance I prepare is not merely material. It is a vibration, an atmosphere, a state in which everything that is yours begins to respond to my voice. When you remain, time loses its power to delay you. The seasons adjust, forgotten opportunities resurface. Because I am the God who rewards those who persevere, those who do not compromise what they feel in their spirit, those who do not trade presence for haste. You stand before the threshold between the past and the present. What I begin in you today does not depend on your strength, but on your perseverance. Remain. When the wind blows against you, remain. When the world says it's over, remain. Because in the silence of perseverance lies the sound of creation. It is there that I mold the invisible to manifest the miracle. I did not give you a fragile faith, but a faith rooted in faith. Every time you doubted and yet persevered, you put down roots. They grew deep, sustaining what is about to bloom. When what I planted begins to sprout, many will not understand, but you will know that it was during the time of waiting that the promise was formed. This is the secret that many never understand. I do not bless haste, I bless faithfulness. Gold is tested in fire, and faith is honed in waiting. What seemed like delay was training. What you called lateness was protection. I was not silent. I was teaching you to hear my voice, even when everything was quiet. Now everything changes. The heavens align with your purpose, and the abundance that was held back begins to flow. Ideas that seem distant begin to take shape. Doors that were closed on the outside begin to open on the inside. I myself breathe life into what was stagnant. You are not alone in this process. I am in every detail, in every movement, in every sign. Everything that hurt you will be used as fertile ground for the new. No suffering was wasted. Every tear you shed was counted and planted. And I will cause multiplication to sprout where there was once despair. Perseverance is the key that unlocks the impossible, and you held it in the hands of faith. Do not fear the magnitude of the promise. It does not depend on your ability, but on my faithfulness. The secret I give you today is simple and eternal. Whoever perseveres, prospers. Share this message with those who still need to. Learn how to persevere and let the light that has reached you reach other hearts. I am marking you at this moment with the seal of divine persistence. From now on, every attempt you make will be guided by wisdom. Every decision will be enlightened. Remain steadfast, because what began invisibly will soon become visible. And when the world asks you how everything changed, you will simply say, I persevered, and God rewarded me. There are voices that speak to confuse, but there is one that speaks to restore. And this is my voice. I did not call you to live in noise. I called you to recognize the sound of truth that sets you free. When you hear my voice and keep it in your heart, everything that surrounded you loses the power to dominate you. Because my voice does not bring fear, it brings direction. It does not oppress, it guides. Remain under my voice, and you will lack nothing. Storms may rage, opinions may change, but whoever anchors themselves in me crosses any sea. There are many who are moved by opinions, but few who are moved by conviction. And that is why I tell you, do not live for what is momentary, live for what is eternal. My voice is eternal. I know your doubts, your questions, your days when the noise seems louder than your faith. But even on those days, my voice continues. It whispers when the world screams. It touches when everything is silent. That is why I teach you to listen in silence, because it is in silence that I reveal to you what I show to no one else. You are part of a greater plan, and in this plan, nothing is random. What I have begun to do within you is the same thing that will sustain what is outside. There is no distance between what I promise and what I accomplish. What exists is the time to align you with my frequency. Remain attentive, because when I speak, even the impossible learns to obey. Everything you created in faith is being nourished by my word. What seemed lost is simply being repositioned. When my voice becomes your compass, there is no way to go astray. Even when you don't see, I guide you. Even when you don't feel, I sustain you. Don't get used to absence. Sometimes I am silent to teach you to trust, but I never leave you alone. Every absence is an invitation to depth, a call for you to learn to hear what is not said, but felt. The voice that guides you doesn't come from outside, it comes from within, from the place where my spirit dwells in you. Remain faithful to the sound of my word, and you will see how everything begins to align. I speak, and time bends. I command, and circumstances change. My voice is not wind, it is foundation. And when you build upon it, nothing can bring you down. The winds may blow, but you will not fall, because you are firmly established on the rock of my presence. Many seek new messages, new words, but forget to remain in what has already been said. The revelation I gave you yesterday still has power today. You don't need to run from one place to another. You only need to remain. Everything I promised you is within the voice that calls you now. I envelop you with my presence and renew your understanding. While the world accelerates, I teach you to rest, because only those who rest in me can hear without fear, see without anxiety, and act with wisdom. The secret is not in doing more, but in remaining with me. Your abundance springs from your attention to my voice. It is the channel through which provision, peace, and strength flow. As long as you remain, I move what needs to move. What was blocked unlocks, what was trapped opens, and what seemed distant draws near under the power of the liberating word. All you need is in the constancy of listening. Do not try to understand every step. Just follow the sound of my voice. I am the path that does not err, the direction that does not fail, and the guide that never abandons you. If this voice has touched your spirit, demonstrate your faith. Like this message, and remain with me, enrolled in my presence, where you will always hear the right direction. Those who walk under my voice never walk in darkness. Even when they cannot see, they know where to go. For the sound of my word is light, and that light never fades. What begins today will be the echo that guides your coming days. And when silence comes again, remember, I continue speaking, and everything I say comes to pass. I saw when they humiliated you. I saw when they made you believe you were too small, too incapable, too unworthy. But there is no position so low that my hand cannot reach. I am the God who raises the fallen from the dust and places them among princes. I do not look at appearances, nor titles, nor status. I look at the heart, and when I find a heart that remains faithful even among the ashes, I make it a throne. You thought silence was forgetfulness, but it was preparation. You were being molded to bear the weight of the honor to come. I do not waste humiliation. I transform every tear into a foundation for your exaltation. Everything they made you lose served to reveal what I had already placed within you. What the world took from you is nothing compared to what I am about to place in your hands. There are people who spend their lives trying to rise through their own efforts, but those I raise up, no one can bring down. When I decide to elevate someone, even their enemies must witness it. They will see and understand that it was my favor, not their strength, because favor does not follow human logic. It follows divine purpose, and your purpose is to rule where you were once rejected. I brought you out of the shadows so that you may learn to shine without pride. True greatness is born from humility. He who has been humbled with purity will be exalted with glory. That is why I did not allow you to ascend before your time. If you had ascended before, the weight would have broken you. Now, the weight sustains you. Pain has made you strong. Waiting has made you wise. Faith has made you worthy of the crown that comes from above. I raise you up not so that you may dominate others, but so that you may rule over fear, over scarcity, over the mindset that told you it's impossible. The time of limitation is over. I breathe upon you the spirit of expansion. What was small begins to multiply. Resources align, doors open, the right people draw near. Everything that once resisted your presence now bows to my command. The place I have prepared for you is not a human inheritance, it is a divine decree. While you speak, I move. While you believe, I accomplish. You have been prepared for a time when abundance will be your normality, because whoever is raised up by me learns to live above circumstances. Do not fear the new level. Every step I raise you to is supported by my word, and wherever you place your feet, there my presence will be. There will be times when you will feel small before the responsibility, but remember, I placed you there, and I will sustain you there. The glory that clothes you is not vanity. It is a sign of a purpose fulfilled. I did not call you to survive, I called you to reign. Not in the sense of human dominion, but of spiritual awareness. To reign is to understand that you lack nothing when you are in me. What was once despair is now peace. What was once loss is now direction. What was once humiliation is now testimony. When I lift you up, it's not just your life that changes. It's the environment around you that transforms. Wherever you place your feet, the ground flourishes. Wherever you touch, abundance manifests. You are a channel, not a receptacle. What I give you, I give so that it may flow, so that it may expand, so that it may heal others. This is the moment when I clothe you in honor. I brush the dust from your shoulders, lift you up, and declare, you are my chosen one. Nothing else can define you except what I say. Those who underestimated you will see the difference it makes to be raised up by God. And when they ask what changed, he answers simply, I just trusted, and he lifted me up. What seemed like the end was only the beginning of your ascent. The dust of the past will not follow you. You are clean, you are upright, you are positioned. From now on, walk as one who knows who sustains you. Because I, the Lord, not only raise you up, I uphold you. And no one can take away what comes from my hands. There is a rhythm in the universe that obeys my voice. Everything that exists pulsates in harmony with what I ordained from the beginning. When I said, let there be light, creation responded. And to this day, the sound of that word continues to echo. Every star, every breath, every beat of your heart vibrates in tune with that eternal command. This vibration is what many call coincidence, but I call purpose. Nothing is random when the Spirit moves. The signs you see around you, the repeating numbers, the aligning encounters, the doors opening at the right moment are not luck. They are echoes of my movement. I use signs to remind you that you are on the right path, that heaven is watching, and that time is in sync with you. The number I bring to your awareness now is a reminder of the perfection of my plan. 7,777. Each 7 represents a complete cycle, a step overcome, a stage completed under my direction. The first 7 speaks of creation, the second of revelation, the third of transformation, and the fourth of manifestation. When these cycles meet, fullness is revealed. You are entering a time when all these cycles are aligning. What was fragmented will become whole. What was pending will be completed. What seemed distant will begin to approach gently. The vibration of 7,777 is the sound of restored balance. It is the sign that scarcity has been replaced by expansion, that fear has been replaced by faith. When you perceive these signs, it's not the universe trying to speak to you, it's me. Everything I created has a language, and that language responds to faith. When you are in alliance with me, everything conspires in your favor. Time bends, the right people appear, resources move, and coincidences cease to be coincidences. They become confirmations. 7,777 is a reminder that heaven works for you even when you don't realize it. It represents my rest after the fulfillment of the promise. It is the sign that the cycle has closed and that a new phase begins, no longer marked by effort, but by fluidity. You don't need to understand everything that happens around you. You only need to align your heart with the vibration of faith. When you trust, everything falls into place. When you doubt, everything dissipates. The divine vibration is not a sound you hear, it is peace you feel. It is calm in the midst of chaos, clarity in the midst of confusion, certainty in the midst of waiting. Now, as you listen to these words, your spirit begins to adjust. A frequency is being restored. You perceive, even without seeing, that something is different. It is the realignment happening. It is my spirit tuning every area of your life to the tone of abundance. Everything that was out of rhythm, your finances, your relationships, your dreams, begins to find its right beat again. Because when man aligns himself with the Creator, imbalance loses its place. 7,777 is the sound of everything returning to its place. Write 7,777 inches, the comments, as an act of faith, and confirm that you are aligned with the perfect cycle of my abundance. Each time you declare this number with spiritual awareness, you will be reminding heaven that you have chosen to remain in harmony with my will. It is not magic, it is agreement. It is saying, I recognize that God's timing is perfect and is already working in me. From now on, you will begin to understand the unfolding of plans more quickly. Ideas that were dormant will take shape. Answers that seem distant will arrive naturally. And when you look back, you will understand that nothing was delayed. It was simply the sound of perfection reaching you. Rest in me and let the rhythm of faith guide you. I am the note that sustains all others, the compass that gives meaning to the melody of your life. As long as you remain in this vibration, I will make you prosper effortlessly, because everything that lives in me lives in fullness. The abundance I have given you is not a treasure to be hidden, it is a seed to be multiplied. When I make you prosper, it is not just for you, it is for all who will be reached through you. Because everything that comes from me carries the essence of expansion. A blessing that closes in on itself ceases to be a blessing, but one that moves, transforms. You were chosen to be a channel, not a receptacle. The water that flows is the water that remains alive. So is my abundance. It renews itself when it flows. It dries up when it is withheld. There are people around you who are thirsty for hope, trapped in emotional, spiritual, and material scarcity. I make you the bearer of the answer they have silently asked for. What I deposit in you today needs to flow from you in love, in faith, in witness. Spreading the code of abundance is manifesting my character. It is showing the world that generosity is the true sign of prosperity. When you give, I multiply you. When you share what you know, I add wisdom. When you extend your hand, I broaden the reach of your purpose. Nothing is lost when you share what was born in me. Remember, I am the God of multiplication. The little you give me grows, the much you keep is lost. Do not be afraid to share what I have given you, time, words, blessings, or comfort, because while you give, I pour out more. The law of abundance is simple. Everything sown in love returns in multiplied harvest. The code I reveal to you is spiritual, but it has concrete effects. The mind that dwells on lack attracts limitation, but the heart that lives to bless attracts the limitless. The entire universe responds to the vibration of generosity. When you decide to bless, you set the gears of heaven in motion. I become your ally in everything, and what was once effort becomes flow. There is a divine energy moving upon you now. It comes to broaden your vision and break the fear of loss, because whoever believes in me does not lose, they plant. And every gesture of yours will be counted as a living seed. The people you touch without realizing it, the simple gestures, the words you share, everything will be an instrument of transformation. Your voice carries power. When you speak with faith, the atmosphere of places changes. That's why I teach you to speak of life, to declare light, to proclaim abundance. Don't let your faith be confined to silence. Let what I do in you resonate in the world. Testimony is the bridge between the miracle you receive and the miracle others need to experience. The code to abundance is not a formula, it's an attitude. Giving, serving, sharing, true abundance. Isn't afraid to spread because it knows the source never runs dry. I am that source, and everything that flows from me continues to grow. At this moment, I bestow upon you the gift of multiplying good. You will be remembered as one who brought hope where there was lack, faith where there was doubt, and courage where there was fear. Your presence will be an answer for those who wait. And what you sow in silence today will be remembered as a great harvest before many. Share this message with those who need to awaken to the abundance that comes from me, and be the channel through which my light reaches other hearts. Now breathe and feel. What is being activated within you is a living current. Each person touched by your action will also become a bearer of the same vibration. Just as one flame ignites another without losing its brightness, your faith will ignite the faith of many, and the more you ignite, the stronger you become. Let my presence guide your generosity. Be courageous in sowing, constant in loving, and wise in sharing. The abundance that begins within you will be the seed of a generation that will learn to live in fullness. For where love spreads, I am, and where I am, nothing is lacking. The time has come when what you have sown in faith blossoms before your eyes. Every prayer, every tear, every act of perseverance that seemed forgotten in the soil of time now sprouts at my command. What was invisible begins to manifest, and what you seem to have lost returns multiplied. You are no longer in the season of waiting, you are in the season of harvest. For a long time, you thought I didn't see you, but I saw every effort, every sacrifice, every time you chose good, even when tired. While the world judged you for what you lacked, I observed you for what you held on to, faith. And it is for this faith that I reward you today. Nothing that was sown was lost. Even the seeds that seemed dead were merely germinating in the darkness. Now I breathe upon the fields of your life, and where there was once dry land, the green of provision springs forth. The ideas you thought had failed return with force. The relationships that seemed broken are restored. The resources that were blocked are released. My word fulfills what it promises. When I say, harvest time, the heavens move and the earth responds. I did not call you to work without fruit. I called you to live in the abundance of your faithfulness. Your patience has been tested, and now it is crowned. The time of losses is over. Enter the time of restitution. All that was stolen from you will be returned with glorious interest. What the enemy tried to use to paralyze you will become a testament to my power. The harvest that is coming will not be small. I will give you more than you asked for, because I do not reward quantity, but intention. Every time you acted with love, even without return, you sowed eternity. And eternity does not forget. There are invisible rewards coming your way. People will remember you at the right time. Dormant opportunities will awaken, and what seemed impossible will become natural. But remember, the harvest is not the end. It is the beginning of a new sowing. You were not blessed to accumulate. You were blessed to spread. I trust you because I saw your integrity when no one else did. I know you will not use what I give you for pride, but for purpose. You are my steward, not my servant. Everything I entrust to you is so that you may reflect my character on earth. Your name will be associated with multiplication, not through fame, but through generosity. You will be recognized as the one who planted hope where there was desert. Abundance will follow you, not because you pursue it, but because you carry the sound of my voice. Wherever you go, the atmosphere will change. The air around you will be light. The environment will flourish, because whoever carries my presence carries the power to make the earth fruitful. I restore your self-confidence. The shame of times of scarcity disappears. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. Your story is proof enough. Those who saw you struggle will now see the fulfillment of the promise. Not because you tried harder than others, but because you persevered. Harvest time has arrived, and with it, the time for gratitude. Learn to be grateful before counting. Celebrate before seeing everything complete. The grateful multiply without asking. Your gratitude will be the new seed that sustains what comes next. If this word confirms what I have already begun in you, manifest your faith with a simple gesture like this message and remain under my voice, where you will always be guided. What begins now is not a peak of blessing, It is a new way of living. Abundance will not be an event, it will be your environment. The open doors will not close because I am the one who opened them. Walk with confidence. Everything you touch will become fertile. Your hands were anointed to multiply and your mind to create. This is the time when you will see the result of what you believed when nothing made sense. And when you realize the greatness of what I planted, you will understand, I never made you wait, I made you grow. The faith you set in motion is the force that reorganizes everything around you. Nothing is more powerful than a soul that believes when everything seems contrary. Faith is the sound the universe recognizes as a command. It is the language that opens invisible doors. When you believe, the impossible cannot resist. It bends, it changes shape, it becomes a path. It's not the size of your faith that moves the impossible, it's its purity. A small spark is enough when it springs from a trusting heart. Faith doesn't need proof, it needs direction. That's why I teach you to look to me and not to the circumstances. While you look at the problem, it grows. When you look at me, it shrinks until it disappears. Faith is the channel through which the supernatural becomes natural. Everything that exists was born from a word spoken in faith. I spoke, and everything came into existence. And now I show you. When you speak in agreement with me, creation still responds. Your words are seeds, and your tone of faith is the soil where they flourish. Every I believe that comes out of your mouth is a decree that begins to work in silence. Don't wait to feel ready to believe. Faith isn't born from logic, it's born from surrender. Many wait for signs before acting, but the sign is your own living faith. When you believe, you create the space where miracles can dwell. The impossible isn't a barrier, it's an invitation. It exists to reveal the strength of those who trust. I don't ask for perfection, I ask for trust. Even trembling, move forward. Even tired, speak of life. Even with tears, declare victory. Because true faith is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to continue despite it. When you move in faith, I move with you. And when we both walk at the same pace, the impossible loses its power. Everything you see as a limit is merely a backdrop for my action. The sea only parts when someone decides to step into it. Faith is not emotion, it is movement. It is the step you take when there is still no ground, and it is that step that creates the path. When you take the first movement in faith, heaven responds with the second. Your faith attracts abundance because it vibrates in the same tone as my will. While you doubt, you block the flow. While you believe, everything aligns. I don't need much, I need what is true. Genuine faith is simple. Believe and rest. Rest is the highest form of trust because it shows that you know who controls the outcome. There are miracles waiting for just a gesture of faith. They don't ask for effort, they ask for surrender. I see the invisible, and I'm already working behind the scenes of your story. Even when you think nothing is happening, doors are unlocking, hearts are being moved, opportunities are forming. Your role is to believe, mine is to fulfill. There are times when faith will be your only weapon, and that is enough. Because when your faith touches my power, what was impossible becomes inevitable. And when you realize that something has changed without you doing anything, you will know it was your trust that created the space for the miracle to flourish. If this message has reached you, write it with faith. I choose to believe even without seeing. This is the seal that activates what is being released now. You were designed to live in this state of constant faith, not uncertainty. Faith is your natural environment. When you doubt, you are suffocated. When you believe, you breathe again. And each breath of faith connects you more to who I am. From now on, use your faith as an instrument, not as a last resort. Speak to the impossible as one speaks to a servant, not a master. Command, declare, manifest, because the impossible only exists until someone with faith says, enough. Today, that someone is you. Gratitude opens the heavens before the miracle arrives. Don't wait for the result to give thanks. Give thanks and the result will come. I don't ask you for praise out of vanity. I ask because praise connects you to the source of life. When you celebrate, your soul is uplifted, your mind aligns, and the impossible begins to move. Joy is not a consequence of blessing, it is the seed that makes it sprout. Celebrate, because what I do doesn't depend on what you see. While you worship, the invisible organizes itself. While you give thanks, the improbable becomes reality. Many remain stuck in the not yet, but you were called to live in the already is. Faith doesn't celebrate what happens, it celebrates what is guaranteed. And I tell you, it is guaranteed. You have already entered the harvest season, and now I invite you to dance spiritually in the field that is blossoming. Feel the wind blowing differently. It is my spirit confirming what I promised. Every cell of yours vibrates with the sound of my presence. Where there was fear, peace is born. Where there was discouragement, strength is born. The celebration is the sign that you have understood that you lack nothing more. Don't just celebrate with words, celebrate with actions. Gratitude should be in your gestures, in the way you look, the way you speak, the way you treat others. Celebration is the silent testimony of someone who knows they have been fulfilled. It changes the atmosphere. A grateful heart transforms a desert into a garden. And when the atmosphere changes, everything responds. I rejoice when I see you celebrate, even without understanding the process, because it shows that you trust. You don't wait for the light to shine. You shine and the light appears. Your worship is a beacon in the middle of the night, and through it I guide others to the dawn. Each of your thank yous has spiritual weight. It is a decree that affirms God is here and is acting. Miracles are happening as you speak to me right now. I touch upon situations you thought were closed. I untie knots, restore paths, renew hope. There's no need to shout louder. You need to trust more deeply. Gratitude is the sound heaven recognizes most because it springs from those who have already understood the purpose. You were created to celebrate, not to lament. Sadness may visit, but it must not dwell within you. Each time you give thanks, you weaken the power of despair. Celebration heals you from within before the blessing manifests outwardly. That is why I teach you to celebrate even amidst uncertainty, because praise opens what effort cannot. You lift your head and realize how much I have already done. Everything you have now is the result of a process that seemed empty, but was full of my presence. Your breath is proof that there is still purpose. Your resilience is a sign that I never left you. So celebrate, because there is victory even in the things you haven't yet seen. Do not let your heart be bound to what is lacking. Turn your eyes to what is being born. Abundance is constant movement, and those who celebrate live in movement. Joy is your inheritance. Do not lose it because of fear. Rejoice, for joy in me is your strength and your protection. The sound of your celebration attracts good things. Each word of gratitude rises like perfume and descends as a response. And that is why I ask you now, open your lips and give thanks. Speak of life, speak of gratitude, speak of faith. While you do this, the impossible dissolves. If this message has ignited in you a desire to give thanks, show your faith with a gesture of gratitude, like this message as a sign of praise for what I have already begun to do. Now breathe and let peace grow within you. Celebration is the seal of what has begun. What you are experiencing is only the beginning of abundance. I continue to move the invisible, and with each breath you take, the miracle draws closer. Celebrate, because what seemed distant already belongs to you. I am doing it now. When I lifted you up, it wasn't just to lift you off the ground, it was to make you a beacon. What I healed in you now becomes medicine for others. The light that surrounds you today wasn't meant to be kept, but to be spread. Every time a soul is illuminated, the whole world becomes less dark. There are many who still walk where you once walked. They seek the same comfort you once asked for, and your story is the answer that will reach them. Do not underestimate the power of a testimony. A word from you, an attitude, a simple gesture can open portals of faith in hearts that had already given up. You were not restored merely to be happy, you were restored to guide. Light does not compete, it multiplies. The more you light in others, the stronger your own flame becomes. When you share what you receive, you show that you understand the essence of abundance. Nothing is yours, everything is in flow. I place it in your hands, not for you to possess, but for you to pass it on. Generosity is the current that keeps the energy of my presence alive. There is a silent power in your life that is already beginning to manifest. Even without realizing it, your voice, your gaze, your touch already carry the reflection of the light that comes from me. People around you will feel peace simply by being near you. They won't understand why, but they will know that there is something different about you. This is the reflection of the glory that has lifted you up. Don't keep what transformed you to yourself. If your story is told, it won't diminish the miracle, it will multiply it. The blessing is renewed the moment it is shared. Every time you say, "God raised me up," heaven repeats, "and I will do it again." Your voice carries seeds, and each one will find prepared soil. I have made you a channel of hope, even without a pulpit, without a title, without a position. You are a messenger. You speak and the atmosphere changes, because your light comes from within, not from without. Darkness cannot withstand a heart set alight. When your life illuminates someone, I rejoice. Because that is how my kingdom grows, not with force, but with love, not with imposition, but with brilliance. As you walk, remember, your light doesn't depend on circumstances, it depends on your connection with me. When you feel tired, return to the source. I rekindle what the world tries to extinguish. And when you rekindle, you shine brighter. It's the cycle of grace, receiving to give, giving to receive. There are blessings that only manifest when you stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about those who still need to be reached. Every time you reach out, the sky opens a little wider. Every time you forgive, a new beam of light enters your life. Every time you speak with love, the darkness recedes. That's how the world is transformed, one heart lit at a time. Remember where I took you from. Remember the pain that once shaped you. All of that was part of the process, so that today you could understand those who still suffer. You have authority over what you have overcome. Use that authority to set others free. Your light is not small, it is part of mine. Now, look around you. How many people are waiting for a word, a sign, a reminder that there is still hope? You are that reminder. You are the touch of love that changes directions. You are living proof that I still lift up, still heal, still restore. Share this message with those who need to remember that there is still light, and be the channel through which my presence will reach other hearts. Keep shining. Do not fear the darkness. It only exists until the light arrives, and the light has already arrived. It clothes your spirit, walks with you, and transforms you into a beacon for generations. What was once weakness is now a testament, and every time your light spreads, the sky smiles because it knows you are fulfilling purpose for which I raised you up. Everything that sustains you springs from communion with me. You were created to live in harmony with my spirit, not to fight alone against time and fear. When you are in me, no storm can bring you down, because the root that holds you is eternal. The world changes, but I do not change. My presence is the safe place that always awaits you, the shelter that never closes its doors, the home that never loses its light. To remain in me is more than believing in me, it is to live in me. It is learning to breathe calmly when everything is turbulent. It is trusting when you see no way out. It is resting when weariness seems to win. I did not promise you the absence of wind. I promised permanence in peace. When you trust, the wind only molds you. It does not destroy you. I do not observe you from afar. I dwell where I am welcome. Every time you call upon me, I answer. Every time you seek me, I reveal myself. There is no need for formulas or rituals. Sincerity is enough. I do not demand perfection. I demand presence. The connection between us is alive. It grows like a tree planted by the waters. And the deeper your presence, the more fruits will naturally follow. There is a spiritual force that surrounds you when you choose to remain. It protects you from distractions, frees you from confusion, and guides you gently. To remain is not to stand still, but to walk with me without losing your balance. While the world pulls you in 1,000 directions, I keep you at the center of the will that completes you. You are the temple I have chosen. My voice echoes within you, even when you think it is only intuition. It is the Spirit guiding you. Learn to recognize my touch in the little things, in the silence that calms, in the memory that consoles, in the word that arrives at the right time. It is I. It has always been I. There are many who approach me only when they need something, but there are few who remain even when they don't. Understand. These are the ones who grow, who thrive in the midst of drought, who flourish in the midst of pain. Because those who remain are not dependent on the seasons. They live from the root of faith. Don't let haste tear you away from my presence. What is eternal is never built in speed, but in constancy. Every minute you spend with me transforms your inner self. Even when you don't realize it, I restore what was broken, reorganize what was confused, and put back in order what was lost. The secret to peace lies in remaining. When your mind wants to wander, return to me. When fear wants to speak, remember my voice. When the world wants to divide you, remember that I am your unity. Your heart is the altar where I dwell, and as long as you are faithful to this connection, nothing can steal you from me. To abide in me is to abide in life. I am the vine, you are the branch. Everything that flows from me passes through you, and everything that bears fruit in you glorifies my name. Even the pruning seasons are love, because each cut reveals a new blossoming. Do not fear the pauses. They are the time for the root to grow. If you feel called to remain, confirm your covenant with an act of faith. Subscribe to this message and choose to walk under my voice every day. Now breathe and feel what is forming. A powerful silence surrounds you. Your constancy will be your greatest weapon, your peace your greatest victory. Abide in me, and I will abide in you. There is nothing stronger than this union. It is the foundation of your abundance, the secret of your stability, and the point where all promises are fulfilled. What abides in me is never lost, for I am the God who never departs. Today I declare freedom from everything that imprisoned you. The chains of scarcity that surrounded you inside and out no longer have power over you. I enter where fear was hidden and uproot the roots of limitation. There is no more debt that defines you, no shame that binds you, no belief that diminishes you. What once made you shrink will now serve as a stepping stone. Scarcity is not merely a lack of resources. It is the shadow of doubt that made you think, I wouldn't take care of you. Today, that shadow dissipates. You were created for fullness. Poverty, fear, discouragement, conformity, all these were old, rusty chains that cannot withstand my presence. Where my light reaches, captivity ends. I release you from every idea that said, it's not possible. You can, because I am with you. I teach you to see abundance where the world sees limitation. The miracle begins within. Change your mind, and everything around you will respond. Scarcity was a mental prison, and today I break the bars one by one. What was lack will now become flow. What was blockage will now be passage. Nothing can stop what I am releasing. Provision is coming from unexpected sources. Opportunities are arising where once there were closed doors. I breathe a new wind upon your life, and this wind carries away the dry leaves of the past. You are no longer the same. Your spirit rises in freedom. Abundance is not a distant destination, it is a state of consciousness. When you recognize that I am your source, you will never lack anything again. Scarcity only exists where fear reigns, and I have just dethroned fear. It no longer has a place in you. I replace anxiety with rest, worry with confidence, despair with vision. What once kept you awake at night will now be a reason for praise. I'll show you that there's richness in the little things. Simplicity isn't poverty, it's wisdom. You'll learn to see treasures in people, value in moments, power in faith. True abundance is living free from comparison. While you looked at what others had, you forgot that your path was unique. Now you'll see with new eyes. Everything you need is already being prepared. The places where you were humiliated will be the setting for your turnaround. The mouths that said, "He will never have it," will be witnesses to what I will do. Because when I set free, no one can bind again. The chains that fall today are not symbolic, they are spiritual. They break cycles, dissolve debts, erase family curses, and remove limitations that did not come from me. Generations are being set free through your faith. Your obedience opens paths for others. When I set you free, it's not just for you, it's for everything and everyone who comes after. Scarcity is over. Your house will be marked by abundance, not lack. Your name will be associated with multiplication, not need. Now he breathes deeply. You feel the weight lifting. The air that enters is the breath of freedom. Doors that seemed rusty open effortlessly. The ground that trembled beneath your feet becomes firm. I remove the dust of the old mentality and place a new spirit within you. You will walk lightly, speak with faith, and think like one who has been set free. Declare with faith, the chains of scarcity have fallen away, and I live in the fullness of God. This is the seal of your liberation. What once held you back now transforms into a testimony. You use this freedom to serve, to prosper, to inspire. Everything that weighed you down becomes an impetus. The time of oppression is over. The time of expansion begins. The chains have fallen, and you move freely in all areas. In finances, in soul, in body, and in spirit. I tell you, you are free, and free you will remain. I didn't ask you to be perfect. I asked you to be truthful, and the truth that comes from your mouth has power. Testimony is not just a story told. It's a seed sown in time. Every time you speak of what I have done, you multiply my presence in the lives of others. That's why I now invite you. Observe, feel, and acknowledge what is being born. Witness what I am doing, even if it still seems small, because what you acknowledge grows. There are miracles that are only solidified when they are confessed. The spoken word seals what the Spirit has received. When you say, "God is working," heaven confirms it. The enemy tries to silence your voice because he knows that a testimony carries the power to set others free. But I gave you a voice to declare victory, not to repeat pain. Use it purposefully. There's no need to wait until the end to share what has already begun. Testimony isn't the conclusion of the process, it's part of it. Give thanks and speak, and you will see accelerated progress. There are people around you who need to hear that the impossible is possible, and your story will be the echo of my power on earth. You will be a reflection of my faithfulness. Look around you and notice the signs. Doors that once closed are opening. Paths that seemed blocked are now revealing themselves. There's a change in atmosphere. The weight has lessened. The air has become lighter. Hope has been rekindled. This is no coincidence. It's the result of the word you planted in faith and the harvest that now flourishes. Your heart feels a new, different peace. It doesn't come from the absence of problems, but from the certainty that you are accompanied. I haven't left you at any moment. I was there when you thought about giving up, and that's why I'm asking you now, talk about it. The world needs to know that there is still God among men, that there are still miracles, that there is still hope. Every word you say will be a beacon. Someone, somewhere, will hear your story and remember that they are not alone. Testimony is contagious. It breaks the cycle of fear and awakens faith where there was only weariness. Even your falls, when surrendered to me, become bridges. Speak without shame of the times you doubted. This will show how much I have transformed you. There is honor in acknowledging what heaven has done for you. Silence is fertile ground for doubt, but when your voice rises in gratitude, doubt loses its place. To speak of what I have done is to affirm that you are free, that the promise was not only heard, it was lived. When you say, "He did," I open new layers of blessing because I find in you someone willing to multiply good. You cannot imagine the reach of your words. A simple phrase from you can cross borders, touch hearts, heal wounds. What you feel now, this warmth in your chest, is my spirit testifying within you that something greater is being formed. This is the moment to proclaim, to affirm, to confirm. Don't expect grand stages. Witness in simplicity, in everyday conversations, in the gaze of someone who asks you, "How did you manage to change?" And answer with the same lightness with which I touched you. God did. Simple as that. You don't need to justify the miracle, only confirm that it is real. Truth carries its own strength. Everything I have given you so far has not only been to bless you, but so that you might become living proof of my faithfulness. You were wounded, yes, but you were also healed. You cried, but you were comforted. You lost, but you received something greater. The Beus. Testimony is the story of how love triumphed in you. When you speak, your vibration changes. The sound of gratitude creates a direct bridge to the supernatural. The vibration of praise is the channel of multiplication. Therefore, every time you say thank you, every time you proclaim good, the current of scarcity dissolves even further and abundance expands. If you are witnessing God's work in your life, write in the comments with faith, "I am a witness to what God is doing." In this way, you seal with words the miracle that has already begun. Nothing is too small to be recounted. Everything born of faith is worthy of being remembered. Keep the details, for in them lies proof of my presence. And when you feel fear again, read anew what you have said. Your own voice will remind you of who I am. From now on, he walks with courage. You are the living testimony that the promise is fulfilled, the example that faith still moves mountains. Wherever you go, carry the memory of what I have done, because it is the fuel for your next victory. I chose you to be a voice, and your voice is already echoing between heaven and earth. Perfect, I understand. Do you want to part 5.2, applaud the miracle with faith, approximately 5,000 real characters, maintaining the same prophetic tone, narrative rhythm, and a single, simple, and persuasive CTA within the context. Here is the expanded, refined, and complete version. There are times when silence is the prelude to celebration. Everything around you seems quiet, but it is the heavens aligning to manifest what has already been determined. The miracle is not a coincidence, it is an answer to your faith. And now I ask you, celebrate beforehand, give thanks beforehand, applaud beforehand. Joy is the language of trust, and when you trust, you transform the environment around you. The sound of praise has creative power. Every word of gratitude that comes from your lips changes the vibration of the world around you. To applaud a miracle is to declare aloud, I believe it has already happened. It is to prophesy with the body, to agree with the invisible, to dance before the music plays. Those who learn to applaud in the midst of waiting do not tire, because they understand that applause is a seed. Gratitude is the channel through which abundance flows without resistance. It lifts you above fear, dissolves anxiety, and opens space for the supernatural to act. When you give thanks, it's not just emotion, it's a covenant. It's the reminder that I remain God, and you remain my beloved child. Many ask, few celebrate. But those who celebrate live in a constant flow of provision, because praise doesn't end when prayer ends. Praise is mature prayer, the kind that has already seen the miracle happen even without seeing it. Therefore, applaud with faith. Clap your hands in the spirit and let the sound of your confidence rise like incense before the throne. Your body is a temple, and every cell responds to what you declare. When you speak of gratitude, your inner self reorganizes itself. The heart slows down, the mind clears, the soul finds rest. It is in this state that miracles flourish. You don't need to shout to be heard, just give thanks in silence, and I will make your voice echo in the heavens. Applaud even the simple days. There is beauty in small victories. The air you breathe, the bread you have, the hug you receive, the forgiveness you offer. All of this is a miracle. Celebration is not just a moment, it's an attitude. When you learn to live gratefully, you lack nothing, because gratitude opens all the doors that complaining closes. Do not let the weight of yesterday dim the brilliance of today. Each day is a new stage for my power. Learn to perceive my footprints in small things, a discreet deliverance, an unexpected answer, a peace that arrives for no apparent reason. All of this is my hand touching you. Applaud the touch, and I will multiply my presence. I rejoice in those who praise me without needing to understand everything. Faith doesn't seek explanation. It expresses itself in worship, and it is this worship that keeps you on the right path. While you celebrate, opposing forces are confused. They cannot withstand the sound of joy, because joy is proof that love has won. Applaud even for those who cannot yet applaud. Every time you raise your hands, your light reaches others. There are people who will be healed by your vibration of gratitude. When you choose to praise, you liberate not only yourself, but an entire environment. Praise is contagious. It transforms homes, cities, generations. What you are feeling now is the beginning of a new vibration. It is the atmosphere of a miracle taking shape. You are within a movement that does not depend on circumstances, but on attunement. Attunement is faith in action, and faith, when celebrated, becomes invincible. To applaud is also an act of humility. It is to recognize that everything you have comes from me. It is to look back and realize that each difficulty has shaped you for this moment. Applaud not only for what you have achieved, but for what you have learned. Applause is the amen of your soul, the sound that seals the cycle of learning. If you feel gratitude for everything I am doing, show your faith, like this message, as a sign of praise and celebration for the miracle that is already underway. Joy is a prophecy. When you laugh with your spirit, you announce victory before it happens. When you move in gratitude, everything rearranges itself in your favor. This is the secret I give you now. To applaud is to decree. Each clap, each gesture of faith is a key, turning in the doors of the impossible. So applaud what was, what is, and what will be. The past has already been forgiven, the present is being transformed, and the future is already written in my hands. Celebrate what you are living and what you will yet live. Because the moment you rejoice, the heavens will open and my glory will cover you again. You are the sound of my contentment on earth. As your voice rises in gratitude, I draw near, and where I arrive, miracles become inevitable. Clap with faith, and you will see the impossible blossom before your eyes. Perfect. Here is the definitive and expanded version of part 5.3. From dust comes the diamond, now with approximately 6,000 real characters, maintaining the same divine, narrative, and emotional tone, with a single symbolic CTA and complete fluidity for continuous narration. Nothing you experienced was wasted. Every pain, every silence, every tear that time didn't dry was part of a greater plan. I was there when you felt forgotten, when you thought the promise had been lost in life's twists and turns. You looked and saw only dust. I saw the diamond hidden within it. Because dust is the beginning of everything I create, and what seems like ruin to men is raw material in my hands. I led you down paths you didn't understand, to mold your soul to the height of your purpose. The pressure you felt wasn't punishment, it was the touch of refinement. A diamond is born from carbon, a common material, but under extreme heat and unimaginable weight. So too were you. You were pressed, heated, tested, and what seemed like destruction was purification. While you cried, I removed what limited you. While it hurt, I molded you. While you were silent, I spoke in the invisible. There were nights when you thought I was far away, but it was on those nights that I watched you most closely. When you lacked everything, I worked in silence. Silence was the sound of my care. It taught you to hear what the world does not hear, the sound of hope still alive. Each time you believed without seeing, the diamond gained a new facet. Your faith sculpted your spiritual beauty. Do not despise the time of pain. It was what revealed what was most precious in you. Pain purified you, the desert strengthened you, and time matured you. Nothing grows in comfort. The fire did not come to burn. It came to reveal the brilliance that was hidden. I removed impurities, broke pride, healed wounds. And now what remains is the true, that which is solid, eternal, unbreakable. Your life is like the mine from which the diamond is extracted. Dark, deep, silent. But it is from this place that the brilliance comes that illuminates others. What many call failure is, for me, fertile ground for transformation. The diamond is not formed under applause, but under weight and darkness. Your journey was exactly like that. You were compressed, silenced, molded, and now you are ready to shine. The wounds you found ugly are, in fact, the windows through which my light shines. What was once a mark of pain now becomes a signature of victory. The diamond is not perfect on the outside, but on the inside. It is the purity of its essence that makes it rare. You are also like that precious, not for what you show, but for what you carry. Look around and realize the wind that once knocked you down now blows in your favor. The ground that made you fall is the same ground that now supports your firm steps. The world still tries to recognize you by your old self, but it no longer exists. What was dust has become structure. What was ruin has become foundation. What was fragment has become testimony. I didn't break you, I sculpted you. I removed the excess that bound you to the past. I molded your patience. I refined your gaze. Suffering taught you to see with the eyes of the Spirit. You learned to recognize beauty in what seemed like pain, value in what seemed like loss, and purpose where before there were only questions. Now, when you look back, you will see that every step was necessary. The desert taught you to depend on me, the silence taught you to listen, and the waiting taught you the rhythm of heaven. All of this prepared you for what is to come. I didn't make you survive just to tell a story. I made you rise again to inspire. People will see your light and think it was luck, but you and I know it was a process. It was renunciation. It was faith. It was resilience. The diamond doesn't shine out of vanity. It shines out of identity. It doesn't need to compete, only to exist. So it will be with you. Wherever you go, you will shine. Write with faith. From dust, God is making me a diamond polished by His glory. This is the spiritual seal of your new beginning. You are a reflection of what happens when divine love decides to transform pain into art. The pressure crushing you has now become momentum. The wound that limited you is now a portal of light. The past that shamed you is now a testament. Everything in you has become a living message of overcoming. Walk with the certainty that you lack nothing. What fire has purified, no one can tarnish. What time has ripened, no one can hasten. Your light will not come from material achievements, but from the presence you carry. You are the diamond of my heart, rare, polished, reflecting the brilliance of eternity. Breathe. Feel the lightness of one who has been rebuilt. You are living proof that even dust, when placed in my hands, is transformed into a fulfilled promise. The light that is born in you now will not fade, because it was forged by pain and strengthened by love. Walk and shine, because the world needs to see that miracles are still born from dry earth, and that from your ashes I made a new beginning. Everything I have given you is not just for you. The abundance that flows in your life is alive, and everything that is alive needs to move. When I bless you, I don't make you the owner, but the channel. What I have entrusted to you is meant to overflow, to reach other hearts, to restore what is still dry. The water that flows is the one that remains pure. The water that stagnates loses its shine. So too is my presence. It renews itself as it passes on. There are people who walk around you without realizing they were placed there to be touched by your light. What I have done in you is no secret. It is a testimony. Every word that comes out of your mouth carries the power to multiply what you have received. When you speak about what I have done, you open portals for the same to happen in the lives of others. This is how my abundance spreads from heart to heart, from gesture to gesture, from faith to faith. Abundance is not accumulation, it is movement. It is not born to fill, but to flow. While you hoard, it weighs you down. When you give, it grows. I bless you so that you may bless others. I fill you so that you may inspire. I lift you up so that you may lift up others. Every act of generosity you perform is a seed of eternity. What comes from your hands is not lost. It returns multiplied. The law of my kingdom is simple. Whoever shares never lacks. Do not be afraid to give what I have given you. I speak not only of material possessions, but of time, of words, of listening, of presence. When you offer what you have with love, heaven moves in your favor. Resources align, doors open, and the impossible becomes natural. What you share transforms into a bridge to another's miracle. Many still believe that blessing is destiny, but true blessing is a journey. It happens as you walk, as you help, as you share. The miracle is not just receiving, it's keeping the flow alive. I didn't make you a vessel, I made you a river. And the river that flows in my name never dries up. Be sensitive to the needs that surround you. Sometimes the miracle someone is waiting for is hidden in your words, in your embrace, in your testimony. The gold I gave you is invisible. It is compassion, faith, wisdom, and presence. Use them, spread them. When you let my light pass through you, the atmosphere changes. Discouragement dissolves, hope returns, peace settles in. Every act of sharing is an echo of heaven on earth. What you say with faith resonates far beyond what you imagine. Your words are seeds, and each person you reach carries within them a new field of possibilities. Thus, what began in you spreads throughout the world like waves that never cease. There is a joy that is born only when one shares. It is the joy of the generous, of those who understand that nothing is truly theirs, but everything is entrusted to them for a time. This joy is the mark of true abundance. It does not come from possession, but from giving. Share this message with those who need to remember that what comes from God never runs out, and be the channel through which my abundance will continue to reach other hearts. I have chosen you to be a living sign of my favor. It is not the size of your gift that matters, but the intention of your heart. When you give with love, you touch invisible dimensions. When you speak with faith, you liberate lives. When you share, you multiply. That is the mystery of abundance. It only remains where there is movement. Don't let the fear of losing stop you from sowing. What comes from your hands with love never disappears. I myself watch over your every gesture and return double what you give. This is how the cycle of my kingdom is maintained. You receive, you share, and you receive more to share again. Walk knowing that you are a source of light. Wherever you go, leave trails of light. The world needs what you carry within you, not just your words, but your example. Your life now is proof that heaven continues to move through hearts that allow themselves to overflow. The time for favor has arrived. The cycle is complete. What began in faith now becomes reality before your eyes. Everything is in order, everything is aligned. What seemed confusing begins to make sense because heaven and earth are in harmony with you. The number I reveal to you, 7,777, is the sign of divine perfection, the reminder that nothing will be lacking for the heart that trusts. 7 is the number of rest after creation, the symbol of the fulfillment of all that I promised. When 7 is repeated, it amplifies the power of completeness. It is as if the universe itself echoes, "It is done." 4 times 7 is the seal of fullness upon fullness, the sign that what began not only ended, but ended in glory. When you see 7,777, remember, it is heaven calling you to the awareness of favor. It is a reminder that the time of blind struggle has ended and the time of conscious harvest has begun. Now you walk in the vibration of continuous miracles, where things fall into place naturally, effortlessly, because everything that is yours finds its way back. Favor is not luck. It is divine design. It is when doors open because your soul is in tune with my purpose. When your heart vibrates with gratitude, favor follows you, and you lack nothing. You don't need to run, just remain. 7,777 is the code for remaining. It is the frequency of active grace, of perfect timing, of the living promise. The number is simple, but what it represents is eternal. It is a reminder that your journey was not in vain, that each tear served to water the soil where abundance flourishes, that each wait was the exact measure of time that is now being fulfilled. I, the Lord, marked this number as a symbol of my multiplied love upon you. While many count losses, you will count signs. They will repeat themselves not by chance, but by purpose. You will see the number 7 in the hours, in the days, in the gestures, and you will remember God has sealed what He has begun, because everything that comes from me brings confirmation. And this is the confirmation. Nothing can undo what I have already established. 7,777 is the decree from heaven, reminding you that the work is complete. It is the cycle that does not go back. It is the season where effort gives way to flow. You are under the number of favor, and favor is eternal. It does not depend on merit, it depends on connection. You are connected to me, and therefore grace covers you, guides you, and protects you. When you repeat this number, you are not invoking luck. You are affirming faith. You are declaring, I am in agreement with what heaven is doing, and in doing so, you open the space for abundance to continue multiplying. Your words are seeds, and even numbers have power when spoken with faith. Write 7,777 inches, the comments as a seal of faith and agreement with divine favor, and declare that the cycle of heaven is complete in your life. I now guide you along paths prepared long ago. Nothing will be forced. Everything will flow. The right people will approach. The right resources will come. The signs will repeat themselves. The vibration of 7,777 will accompany you like a never-ending song, reminding you that favor doesn't stop, it only grows. From now on, learn to recognize the signs. They are not coincidence, they are confirmation. When you see the number 7, remember, it is the sound of promise. When you see 7,777, remember, it is the seal of completeness, the smile of heaven telling you that everything is in its place. Bless this time and walk with a peaceful heart. For the cycle of favor does not end here. It renews itself with every breath. The number 7,777 is a reminder that the heavens are open and that the abundance that began in you will never be interrupted. You are under the number of perfection, and what is perfect in me will never be broken. What has begun in you is not a moment, it is a movement. I did not give you merely a fleeting blessing. I enveloped you in a flow that never ceases. My movement is constant, like the pulse of life, and he who learns to remain in it never returns to emptiness. You were called not to live on peaks of faith, but to walk in daily communion, feeling the flow of my presence in every detail. I move in silence and sound, in pause and haste, in the simple and the extraordinary. You don't need grand signs to know I am acting. Just perceive the gentle breath that guides you. Sometimes, my movement is an idea that arises at the right moment, a peace that arrives without reason, a coincidence that changes everything. When you learn to recognize these small manifestations, you live in harmony with me. Do not interrupt what I am doing by trying to understand everything. The human mind tries to control, but the spirit learns to flow. To remain in my movement is to trust without seeing, to continue even without understanding, to rest even when the path seems uncertain. My spirit never tires. It guides you, even when you don't realize it. When I move you, I don't push you, I invite you. I don't force you, I draw you in. Every step you take, guided by me, is sustained by grace. When you remain in flow with me, everything that is heavy becomes light. Decisions become clear, the heart calms down, and the impossible begins to align. The secret lies in constancy. Those who remain under my guidance live in balance, even when the world becomes unstable, because presence is their refuge and faith is their rhythm. Learn to walk in step with Pharaoh, to hear the sound of the invisible and to respond with obedience, not anxiety. I don't want you to live for fleeting experiences, but for continuous communion. Presence is not an event, it is dwelling. It is remaining awake, even when everything around you sleeps. It is keeping your heart open, even when the world closes in. My movement does not depend on place, time, or circumstance. It is in you, and you are in it. Feel the flow now. It doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. The spirit that dwells within you is like a river that never dries up. Even when the desert tries to surround you, the river keeps flowing. I don't take you out of the storms, but I teach you to dance in the rain. My movement is rhythm, and your heart learns to beat at the same frequency. Let me guide you. Don't rush ahead. Don't fall behind. My timing is perfect, and everything happens at the exact moment it should happen. When you learn to trust the rhythm of my hand, you live lightly, even without having all the answers. The control you surrender transforms into divine direction. Movement is not agitation, it is harmony. It is the wind that blows and carries away what is no longer useful. It is the breath that renews what was weary. If you remain sensitive to my voice, nothing will escape you. I will guide you in decisions, relationships, and paths. I will not let you get lost, because whoever walks under my flow walks safely. With each sunrise, I move upon you again. I rekindle your faith, renew your strength, and revive your hope. There is no end to what begins in me. The abundance that flows never runs dry, because it comes from an eternal source. As long as you remain connected to me, you will lack nothing. If this message speaks to your spirit, demonstrate your faith. Like this message and subscribe to continue under my guidance and live in harmony with my voice every day. Now just breathe. Feel the air that surrounds you. It is the same breath that gave you life. I remain the same, and my movement is constant. When the world stops, continue flowing with me. When everything seems still, remember, within you, the river still flows. The flow of my presence is eternal, and whoever remains in it is never lost. From the moment your eyes open in the morning, I am already there. The air you breathe, the light streaming through the window, the gentle warmth of the sun touching your skin, all of this is my presence silently greeting you. Even when you don't perceive me, I make myself felt in the little things because my way of loving is discreet. I don't need thunder to remind you that I exist. I hide in the details that go unnoticed so that you may learn to see with your heart. I am in your coffee break, in the sound of running water, in the breeze that touches your face when you least expect it. I am in the smile of someone who looks at you tenderly, in the message that arrives at the right time, in the encounter that seems like a coincidence, but is providence. Every moment carries a touch of me. You don't need to wait for a great miracle to find me. I am present in the routine, in the everyday, in the simple act of living. When you walk in a hurry and think there's no time, I slow down the world around you just to give you a second of peace. When tiredness tries to overwhelm you, I send a light thought, a good memory, a song that makes you breathe again. I transform ordinary moments into sacred encounters. Your day is never too short for me, and none of your gestures go unnoticed. I am in your breath when it calms, and also in your sighs when the weight increases. When your heart tightens, I am the silence that does not judge you. When you lack words, I am the invisible embrace that envelops you. With every step, I accompany you, not to watch over you, but to sustain you. I do not observe you from afar. I walk beside you, adjusting your rhythm to the beat of my peace. When you are sad, I draw near like a calming wind. When you are happy, I mingle with your joy, for I am part of it. I rejoice with you, not because I need to, but because I love you. And true love vibrates with your laughter and weeps with your tears. None of your emotions are foreign to me. When you cry, I cry with you. When you laugh, the whole sky smiles. I reveal myself in what you least expect. I am in the touch of the wind, in the smell of wet earth, in the gaze of a stranger who greets you on the street. I am in the child who smiles at you for no reason, and in the elderly person who offers you wisdom with their gaze. I am in everything that is pure, simple, and real, because love needs no stage. During the day, when you get lost in thought and wonder if you're on the right path, I whisper to your soul, yes, keep going. When you fear tomorrow, I touch your heart and say, I am here too. You never walk alone because your path is my path. I envelop you in every hour, in every decision, in every silence. At night, when the world fades and the voices fall silent, I am still there. I sit at the edge of your bed and watch over your sleep. While your body rests, my spirit works, taking care of what you don't even know how to ask for. I close your eyes, but I open your paths. And when you sleep, I renew your strength for the new day to come. Even when you distance yourself, I will remain near. Even when you forget me, I will gently remind you through a gesture, a memory, a breath. My love is patient and in no hurry. It only waits for the moment when you realize that I never lost myself from you, because I never distance myself from those I love. Life is made of small miracles disguised as routine. The fact that you are here, reading, breathing, thinking, feeling, all of this is a miracle, and I am in each one of them. I am the rest between your thoughts, the comfort between your sorrows, the hope between your fears. I am the invisible that sustains you and the eternal that dwells within you. If this presence touches your heart now, share this love with those who need to remember that God is in the details, and let my peace reach others through you. Remember, I don't only come when you call me, I never leave. I am in the sound of the laughter of those around you, in the light of dusk, in the rain that falls and cleanses the air. I am in the moment when your heart slows down, in the gaze that welcomes you, in the forgiveness you choose to grant. With each breath you take, a part of my love is renewed within you. Nothing you have experienced has gone unnoticed. No step was lonely, no day was too ordinary for my care. When the world seems empty to you, just stop for a moment. Close your eyes and feel, I am here. I have always been. I will always be. True worship is born when you realize you already have more than you asked for. Giving thanks isn't a gesture of someone who possesses everything, but of someone who recognizes that the essentials have never been lacking. Every beat of your heart is proof of my care. Each sunrise is a new opportunity to begin again. Gratitude isn't a reward, it's communion. It's the point where you stop looking at what's missing and start seeing what already is. When you worship, your soul expands. The vibration of your gratitude changes the environment around you. Where there was heaviness, lightness is born. Where there was doubt, clarity arises. Gratitude connects you directly to the source because it is the language of heaven. Angels recognize it and respond with movement. When you give thanks, you create harmony between the visible and the invisible. Worship is the purest gesture of faith because it praises before seeing. He who learns to be grateful for what has already come becomes invincible in the face of what is yet to arrive. The grateful soul does not fear the future because it knows that the love that cared yesterday will continue to care tomorrow. You don't need everything to be happy. You only need the awareness to realize that you are already surrounded by miracles. I receive your adoration even when it is silent. The sigh you make when you feel peace is also a hymn. The tear that falls without pain is adoration in liquid form. The gaze that rises to heaven and says thank you is worth more than 1,000 words. Gratitude does not depend on perfection, but on presence. It is the highest form of prayer because it does not ask, it trusts. When you kneel without demanding anything, heaven inclines to hear you because gratitude doesn't ask, but releases. It opens the flow of abundance and puts you in rhythm with my heart. I dwell among those who worship me, and where there is praise, there is life. There is no emptiness that can withstand a grateful heart. Give thanks for what you see and also for what you do not yet understand. What seems to take a long time today is simply time organizing itself in your favor. Everything is in its right place at the exact moment, and while you worship me, everything falls into place. Gratitude is the seed of manifestation. What you praise today blossoms tomorrow. Worship is not an act of emotion, it's a state of consciousness. It's waking up and realizing that simply breathing is already a miracle. It's eating and remembering that there is provision. It's walking and feeling that there is direction. It's crying and understanding that there is healing. Everything is a miracle, even the silence that teaches you. Faith doesn't eliminate suffering, but it transforms the way you see it. When you learn to be grateful for what has already come, you stop living in lack and begin to live in fullness. Because those who are grateful don't wait for miracles, they live within them. Gratitude is not the end of the road, it is the road itself. It is the link between what you have and what is yet to come. If your heart feels gratitude for what has already come, like this message, as a sign of worship and recognition to the God who has never stopped caring for you, I hear the sound of your soul when you say, thank you, and that sound is what moves heaven. Sincere praise has the power to transform the inner environment even before the outer one changes. When you worship with truth, I approach with tenderness and transform your gratitude into a shield. Nothing can touch a heart that praises. Let gratitude become your daily language. Speak of life, speak of faith, speak of gratitude, and wherever you go, spread that light. Because worship is not a moment, it's a dwelling place. Live in it, and you will see that abundance is not conquered, it is recognized. What you expect has already begun, and your worship is the seal that you are ready to receive even more. The peace you feel now is not fragile, it is a seed. It was planted in you to germinate in other hearts. I gave you this peace not to keep it, but to share it. The world is full of noise, and few still hear the sound of silence. But you were called to be a bearer of calm, a reflection of the rest that comes from me. When your presence enters a place, the atmosphere changes, because where light arrives, confusion loses its power. You carry a peace that transcends circumstances, because it doesn't come from outside, it comes from above. It's a peace that can't be bought, can't be explained, only felt. It's born from trust, grows amidst trials, and blossoms in the heart of those who learn to rest in me. I made you a messenger of serenity, even in the midst of the storm. Spreading peace is not just talking about me, it's acting like me. It's listening before responding, welcoming before judging, loving before understanding. It's offering calm where there is chaos, a smile where there is heaviness, forgiveness where there is wound. It's walking without haste, because those who have peace don't compete in races, they simply follow the rhythm of eternity. Many will look at you and not know why, but they will feel a sense of peace your gaze will convey. Security, your words will bring comfort, your gestures will awaken faith. This is true preaching, to live in such a way that the hearts of others feel the touch of the divine simply by being near you. Peace is contagious. It spreads in invisible waves, and every action of yours can become a seed planted in fertile ground. When you forgive, you liberate. When you understand, you heal. When you remain silent with wisdom, you avoid wars that never needed to exist. Peace is your most powerful weapon because it disarms what is heavy and transforms what is hard into tenderness. Remember, the peace I gave you is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of purpose. Even when everything around you seems uncertain, remain centered. Your serenity will be a beacon for those still seeking direction. Do not let the world's haste extinguish your balance. The silence within you is the channel through which my voice speaks loudest. Being a bearer of peace is the mission of those who have already been healed from within. You know what pain is, and therefore you know how to recognize those who need comfort. You use your words as shelter, your gestures as refuge. You were not called to compete with the noise, but to be the whisper that reminds weary hearts that there is still hope. Peace is like perfume. The more it is shared, the stronger it becomes. And the world, which so desperately seeks power, will yet be transformed by hearts that choose serenity. Therefore, wherever you go, take with you what you feel now. Your calmness is the presence of God in motion. Share this message with those who need to feel peace and be a living instrument of the serenity that heaven has placed in your hands. When your peace touches another heart, it multiplies. No gesture is too small. No smile is wasted. What comes from you with love travels beyond what you imagine. Perhaps you will never see the result, but I see it. Each of your acts of kindness generates an eternal echo. Remain in balance. What is yours needs no rush. What is mine is never lost. Peace is your inheritance and your mission. Spread it like one who lights candles on a dark night. Because while darkness tries to grow, a single spark of light is enough to prove that the shadow never won. You are that spark. You were chosen to bring peace where there is weariness, to restore laughter where there is pain, to show that love still exists. You continue to be a source of peace because whoever lives in me never runs out, they only overflow. There is a place where the noise of the world cannot reach you, where the heart is still and the soul recognizes the sound of eternity. It is the place where my voice dwells. It is there that everything makes sense again. It is not a temple made by human hands, but the secret space within you, where the spirit meets the divine. Every time you silence fear and open your heart, you enter that place. To remain where my voice dwells is to choose to be attentive to what is eternal, even when the transient cries out. It is to walk against the current of despair and remain in communion when everything calls you to noise. True prosperity is not the fruit of effort alone, but of listening. Whoever learns to listen to me walks with wisdom, and whoever walks with wisdom does not stumble, even in the dark. I speak in the simple and the profound, in the visible and the invisible. I speak when you read, when you pray, when you think, when you simply breathe. I speak through people, through circumstances, through silence, and even through waiting. My voice is not sound, it is presence. And when you learn to recognize it, nothing else confuses you. Remain where my voice dwells. The world will try to distract you with promises of speed, easy shortcuts, and fleeting glimmers of light. But my voice calls you to what endures. What is mine lasts. What belongs to the world passes away. Only those who listen with their spirit can discern the value of what is unseen. Do not seek my voice only when you need direction. You learn to hear it when all is at peace. It is in tranquil days that the faith that will sustain turbulent days is built. Constancy is the secret of those who prosper. The fruit does not sprout the instant it is planted, but in the soil that is watered every day. So it is with communion. It is born from persistence, grows in presence, and flourishes in obedience. Many approach me seeking answers, but few stay to hear the sound of my heart. The prosperity that comes from above is not only in what one has, but in who one is. And whoever remains in me carries within themselves a peace that no treasure can buy. To remain is to trust when the scenario changes. It is to remain steadfast when emotions waver. It is to choose faith when the world offers doubt. I did not promise the absence of winds, but constant presence. And when my voice dwells within you, no noise can bring you down. You may feel fear, but it no longer dominates you. You may see chaos, but you remain calm. My voice is nourishment. When you feed on it, your soul prospers and your mind is enlightened. Even battles become opportunities because you understand that every challenge carries a lesson in disguise. When you live connected to my word, nothing is wasted, not the tears, not the waiting, not the silences. If you wish to continue under my direction and grow in the voice that guides you, sign up now, remain where my word finds you, and let me continue speaking to your heart every day. Permanence is the secret of eternity. Those who dwell in the presence are never lost because they learn to live by the sound of grace and not by the noise of circumstances. I teach you the rhythm of heaven, constancy, lightness, and trust. Each morning is a new chance to listen. Each night is an invitation to rest. I am always speaking. What changes is your attention. Therefore, calm your mind and open your heart. My voice does not compete, it calls. It does not demand, it invites. And when you accept this invitation, prosperity ceases to be a desire and becomes a state. Everything that is true is built on perseverance. Do not stray from the place where my voice nourishes you. What brought you here was listening. What will take you further is faithfulness to that listening. Where there is constancy, there is harvest, and where there is communion, there is endless life. Remain where my voice dwells, for it is in that space that the impossible becomes natural. It is there that wisdom flourishes, the mind is renewed, and the heart finds rest. He who chooses to dwell in me does not walk in uncertainty, he walks in light. There is power in the words you speak, but there is an even deeper seal in those you choose to write. When you write something with faith, it is not merely ink on canvas, it is a covenant between your soul and heaven. What is written with the heart becomes an eternal record. Therefore, today, I invite you to confess what you believe, not as repetition, but as a living affirmation of your covenant with me. Your faith needs to be expressed, because what remains only in thought dissolves, but what is declared takes shape. When you speak, the sound propagates. When you write, the word takes root. It's the same principle of creation. I spoke, and it came to be. When you write in faith, the invisible begins to obey. Each of your words becomes a spiritual brick, building the future I have prepared for you. It doesn't matter if your confession is long or short. What matters is that it's true. Write not what you think you should say, but what you truly feel. Write even if you're trembling, even if you doubt, because even a small faith is powerful when it's sincere. When you put your trust into words, you are declaring to the universe, I choose to believe, and everything around you begins to align with that choice. Confession is the bridge between what you see and what you hope for. It is the act of planting the seed of the spiritual world in the physical world. Writing is the gesture that unites the invisible with the tangible. You are not merely expressing faith, you are decreeing life upon yourself and upon all that surrounds you. When you write, you record in time the manifestation of my will. Do not be afraid to put your dreams into words. Many keep silent what should be declared. Faith that is silent dies, but faith that speaks lives and multiplies. I hear what comes from your lips, but I also read what you write in silence. Your writing is your visible prayer, your surrender transformed into action. Write your confession, even if you don't know the outcome. Because when you put your yes on paper, heaven responds with Amen. Doors move, winds change direction, and what seemed distant begins to draw closer. Written faith is a spiritual signature, the seal of your new beginning. Think about the times you've held back words out of fear. How many promises have remained unfulfilled due to a lack of declaration? Today, break that silence. Your confession has creative power. It's not just saying, I believe. It's affirming, I belong, I remain, I trust, even if you don't yet see the miracle. I remind you, you were made in my image, and your words also generate. Use them with intention. Use them to bless, to heal, to transform. Write what you want to see flourish. Write what your spirit has already seen and the world has not yet understood. Write your confession now in the comments with faith and declare what you believe so that heaven may confirm what has already begun in your spirit. The act of writing is not a detail, it is an altar. Each sentence is a living stone erected in the invisible temple of your faith. And this altar cannot be destroyed. It remains before me. What is written with sincerity will become a testimony. Angels will gather your words and carry them before the throne like incense. Don't let disbelief erase what is already being formed. Write even if you feel nothing. Faith is not emotion, it is a decision. When you decide to record what you believe, you are choosing to remain connected to the promise. Confession is a reminder of who you are and who I am in you. Every word you say will be returned to you multiplied. What you declare today in faith will become experience tomorrow. What you write now will be what you live later. I do not leave promises unanswered, and I do not leave confessions without fruit. Remain in this atmosphere of written faith. Read what you have declared and keep it in your heart. Because confession doesn't end when it's spoken, it continues to echo. Each day, it renews itself and strengthens you. Writing down your faith is sealing your future. It's planting your eternity in the present. And when you doubt again, return to what you have written. Read your own words and remember, what you have declared in faith never dies. The word written in my name is eternal. It does not perish. It germinates. And when it blossoms, you will recognize. What came from your hand was the breath of my voice. The purest faith is the one that sings before the sun rises. It is the praise that springs forth even when the scene still seems dark. I call you to celebrate what you have not yet seen, because your worship is the key that unlocks the invisible. When you choose to rejoice before the answer, you declare to the spiritual world that you know in whom you trust. The joy that springs from faith is the sound that heaven recognizes most, because it says, "I believe," even without seeing. Celebration is not a prize, it's a seed. Those who celebrate before harvesting prepare the soil for miracles. The vibration of gratitude anticipates what is to come, and what you celebrate today will be the testimony of tomorrow. When you open your mouth to give thanks for what you do not yet have, heaven understands that you are already ready to receive. I do not ask you for a superficial celebration, but for inner joy, the kind of joy that springs from trust. Don't wait for a sign to rejoice, because the sign is already within you. The miracle begins the moment your heart opens to celebrate. Praise is the language of certainty. It tells the universe that the work has already been done. It is in the midst of waiting that I reveal myself most, and it is in the sound of your praise that the impossible bows down. He celebrates what hasn't happened yet, as if it were already happening. He dances with his soul, sings with his spirit, smiles with his heart. Faith doesn't deny what hurts, but chooses to see what comes after the pain. Every time you decide to praise amidst doubt, a new door opens in the invisible. I move in the vibration of joy, and when your spirit celebrates, my power manifests. There is no need for a reason to praise, because I myself am the reason. While the world waits for results to rejoice, my children rejoice, because they know the outcome has already been determined. Your celebration is not noise, it is agreement. It is the soul saying, "I know that all is well, even if it doesn't seem so yet." You were created to worship with your whole being, mind, soul, body, and spirit. When your heart vibrates with gratitude, even your cells respond. The body heals, the mind aligns, and the spirit is strengthened. That's why joy is healing. It dissolves fear, disarms despair, and creates space for the new to be born. Don't let waiting steal your praise. Celebrate the little things. Celebrate what seems ordinary. Celebrate even the silence, because every second you spend giving thanks is a second that heaven moves in your favor. Praise is not a sound that rises, it's a cycle that returns multiplied. If your heart believes that the miracle has already begun, like this message, as an act of faith and an early celebration of the victory that is already underway, you were called to live in constant joy. Praise is not just a response, it's spiritual breath. When you let gratitude fill you, no shadow finds a place. Sadness dissolves, anxiety subsides, and the spirit finds peace. Celebrate what you do not yet see, because I have already seen it. And when I see it, it is done. Your thank you opens paths that your strength could never open. Your worship is a silent decree that the enemy cannot resist. While you praise, the impossible takes shape, the improbable bends, and what seemed distant draws near. Remain joyful, even without proof. True faith is a song before the dawn. And when the new day arrives, you will realize that you were not celebrating in vain. You were celebrating in harmony with heaven. Your praise is the sound of a victory that is already written. There are moments when the sky opens up and everything around you seems different. The air changes, the soul quiets down, and the heart understands that something has been sealed. This is one of those moments. The cycle is complete, the promise is alive, and the favor that began now takes hold of you. The number 7,777 is not just a sequence, it is the symbol of the alliance between what is eternal and what is earthly, between what is divine and what manifests within you. It represents the perfection of the completed work, the rest after creation, the echo of the voice that says, "It is done." When I reveal the number of favor to you, I do not give you superstition, but awareness. 7 is the rhythm of my time. It is the sound of completeness, the mark of what ends and begins again purified. Each time it repeats, it reaffirms what heaven has already decreed over your life. 7,777 is the seal of balance, the meeting of grace, promise, faith, and fullness. It is the reminder that your journey was not in vain, and that what began with tears ends in glory. Everything you have experienced up to this point has brought you to this moment, the moment to seal what has already been released. The seal is the Amen of the soul, the definitive yes to what I have already prepared. You no longer need to ask, now you only confirm. 7,777 is the code of your agreement with heaven. It represents the instant when your faith stops waiting and begins to live. I want you to understand something. The seal is not just a number, it's a spiritual frequency. When you declare it, when you write it, you are saying with your heart, I receive, I trust, I abide. And that declaration reverberates in the invisible. The angels recognize the sound of that seal, and everything around you begins to align with the harmony of the fulfilled promise. 7,777 is the breath that closes one cycle and begins another. It is the rest of one who has already triumphed and now lives in the flow. There is no more fear, only gratitude. There is no more doubt, only certainty. You don't need to chase after things. They will reach you because you are under the number of favor. What bears the seal of heaven is not lost, is not delayed, is not interrupted. Look back and see, all that was pain is now wisdom. All that seemed like loss has transformed into preparation. And now, each part of your journey aligns like pieces of a divine mosaic. The number 7,777 is a reflection of this, the perfect pattern of grace working in your story. Write 7,777 inches. The comments as a seal of your faith and a sign that you receive the complete favor of heaven, a simple act that declares it is done in your spirit. When you write with faith, you are spiritually recording your commitment to the eternal. It is a visible gesture that reflects the invisible. Each 7 is a layer of my promise. The first represents the beginning, the second resistance, the third maturity, and the fourth rest. Together, they form the code of completeness. When you write, you are literally sealing the cycle within yourself. You are no longer the same person you were when you began. Your faith has matured, your heart has been restored, and your mind has been renewed. The seal is the symbol of your transformation. It is the visible testimony of a story rewritten by love. Just as the ancients raised stone altars to remember what I had done, you now raise a digital altar, a small gesture, but full of power. Those who see this seal will recognize your faith, and even without understanding, they will feel something change within them. Because the seal is not only for you, it is also a testimony for those who still walk in darkness. Each 7,777 written with faith is a spark of light ignited in another heart. Do you feel the peace that surrounds you now? It's a sign that heaven has confirmed it. When the Spirit rests, it's because the promise is already active. Favor is flowing, and everything begins to move in your favor. Relationships, opportunities, paths, ideas. The right doors open, and the wrong ones close effortlessly. The seal is also a shield. It protects what is yours and prevents fear from stealing what I have already conquered for you. 7,777 is a reminder that you don't need to rush to receive. You just need to be in tune. It's the number of harmony between doing and being, between trusting and acting. It reminds you that grace works while you rest, that purpose advances while you wait, that love operates while you are silent. Keep this symbol not as a superstition, but as a reminder. Every time you feel lost, remember it. Write it on your heart, repeat it with faith, and feel the vibration of completeness surrounding you again. It is a reminder that heaven has not forgotten you, and that the promises I made to you remain alive. 7,777 is the sound of the end and the beginning. It is the touch of eternity calling you to live in the rhythm of purpose. Everything that begins with me ends in fullness. This is the number of certainty, the number of multiplied grace. Your story now bears this seal. You are marked by favor, enveloped by promise, and sustained by presence. Walk lightly. The seal has already been placed upon you, and nothing can remove it. Your life will be a testament to balance, abundance, and constancy. From now on, every step you take will reflect divine harmony. 7,777 is more than a number. It is the sound of your faith echoing through time. The word you received is not a treasure to be kept. It is a flame to be spread. I did not give you revelation merely to comfort you, but to transform you into a living testimony of what my love is capable of doing. Everything I taught you, everything I healed, everything I restored in you now needs to flow. The word only remains alive when it moves. And when it passes through your lips, it crosses borders you cannot even imagine. The world is thirsty for hope, and I have made you a bearer of it. There are weary hearts, lost people, souls that need to hear what already echoes within you. Your story is the seed I want to plant in other fields. Every time you speak of me, every time you share what I have done, you are watering a new life. Do not underestimate the power of a word spoken with faith. What comes from you with love has the power to change destinies. Some people think that evangelizing is about preaching loudly, but evangelizing is about living with purpose. It's about smiling when everyone murmurs, forgiving when everyone seeks revenge, remaining at peace when everyone is lost in fear. Every gesture of yours is a silent sermon. The world needs to see in you the difference that heaven makes when it dwells within someone. Words flow freely when they encounter no barriers. And I have made you a channel, not a wall. Do not hold back what I have given you. The grace you try to keep is lost. The grace you share multiplies. Love only grows when it is shared, and light only triumphs when it spreads. I have given you a testimony not for you to hide it, but for you to become an example. When you open your mouth to speak of what I have done, the heavens move. Each word you utter is like wind, and the wind carries seeds that will germinate in distant lands. You don't know who will be reached by what you say, but I do. There are people who will only hear me through you. There are homes that will only be touched by your voice. There are hearts that will only awaken upon seeing your example. Share this message with those who need hope, and be the bridge through which my word will continue to flow to the ends of the earth. You were not chosen by chance. There is a weight of purpose upon your life. What you have lived through was not just for you. It was training, preparation, a seed. The healing you have received now is the remedy you will bring to others. The faith that sustained you through your dark days is the lamp that will illuminate the paths of those who still walk in shadows. I have anointed you with the anointing of messengers, those who do not remain silent, even when they are not heard. Carry the word with love, not with imposition. Souls are not convinced by force, but by presence, and you carry my presence. Wherever you go, it will go with you. In every act of kindness, in every word of comfort, in every true embrace, heaven will touch earth once more. Let the word spread. Don't let the fear of judgment or the weariness of routine silence your voice. Your mission is simple, yet eternal. To bring light where there is darkness, to remind the world that there is still salvation. Even a single seed planted can change an entire generation. When you share what has touched you, you become a multiplier of hope. Some may doubt their own impact, but I tell you, nothing that comes from you with love is lost. Every word, every gesture, every sharing leaves traces of eternity. Your giving today will be someone's miracle tomorrow. What sets you free today will be the same power that will set another free through you. The world is full of voices, but few carry essence. Words become empty because they are not born from experience, but yours are born from encounter. When you speak, your voice carries the mark of transformation. You don't need to be perfect, just available. I don't use those who think they're ready. I use those who surrender themselves. Words don't need force, they need fluidity. Let them flow. Love knows the way. It finds open doors where reason sees walls. It crosses windless oceans and reaches places you will never visit. Your faith is the current that moves the invisible. And when you open your heart, the message that transformed you becomes a bridge between heaven and earth. Walk with this awareness. You are a bearer of the word. Your hands, your eyes, your smile, everything in you carries the sound of my name. Even in silence, your life speaks, and what speaks of me does not return empty. Be a messenger of peace, an echo of love, a breath that rekindles hope. And as you let the word flow, you will realize that it also continues to renew you. Because whoever shares faith never loses it, only expands. You are a channel, and channels don't accumulate, they flow. Let the word flow through you, and you will see the impossible run alongside it. What I have given you is eternal, and everything that is eternal needs to be spread. You are the movement of grace in the world. Wherever you go, take the word. Wherever you speak, speak life. Wherever you are heard, plant seeds. And where you are rejected, sow anyway, because no seed sown in my name will be in vain. Go now and let love flow freely. Because when the word flows through you, heaven itself moves with you. Everything I have given you doesn't end with you, it begins with you. You were not created to retain, but to flow. My abundance doesn't accumulate, it moves, flows through, reaches out, and renews. When I pour it out upon you, it is because I trust your heart. I know you will not hold on to what you receive, but will transform it into a living blessing. You are the river where my generosity flows. And the more you allow it to flow, the more I fill you. The abundance of heaven is not measured in numbers, but in fullness. It is peace that never runs out, love that cannot be divided, and hope that cannot be broken. When I make you a channel, I connect you to the inexhaustible source of my spirit. Everything that flows from me passes through your being and transforms into provision for others. Every word you speak heals. Every gesture you make blesses. Every act you take spreads life. To be a channel of abundance is to live without fear of scarcity. It is to know that even when you give, you do not lose. Everything that comes out of you with love returns multiplied. The law of my kingdom is generous. Whoever shares, grows. Whoever blesses, flourishes. Whoever gives, never lacks. Your life will be a testament to this. Not because you will accumulate more, but because you will lack nothing. True abundance is not about possessing much, but about never being empty. It begins within, in a grateful and willing heart. He who trusts in me never fears tomorrow, because he knows that the same God who nourishes the Jectivires, sun with light, will also nourish your soul with provision. I have made you a spring in the midst of the desert. What dries up in others springs forth in you. To be a channel is to live in motion. It is to wake up each day with the desire to serve, love, and transform. It is to see need and respond with compassion. The abundance I give you is alive, and life cannot tolerate stagnation. Therefore, I leave within you the power to renew whatever you touch. What you touch with faith will flourish. What you bless with words will be restored. And wherever you go, you will leave traces of comfort and hope. Heaven's prosperity is silent, yet constant. It manifests in all that is whole, in the home that remains at peace, in the mind that rests, in the heart that trusts, in the hands that give. I will give you abundance in every area, because in you I have found space to flow. You have become a vessel, and a full vessel overflows. Your life will be a source of nourishment for those who thirst. There will be those who approach you simply to feel what emanates from you, not because you are better, but because you carry what comes from me. And I do not take back what I give. I only ask that you continue sharing. Abundance is maintained when it is not held back. Even on days when you feel weary, the spring within you will not run dry. It is sustained by eternity, and eternity never runs dry. Deep waters flow within you, and they will wash away what is old, heal what still hurts, and renew what needs to be reborn. Share this message with those who need a reminder that heaven never ceases to give, and that the more we let love flow, the more it multiplies. You were chosen to be a reflection of my generosity. You are not a dam, you are a river. And rivers don't hold back, they bring life wherever they go. Wherever you go, bring abundance. Speak of hope to the desperate, offer love to the wounded, share light with those who still walk in the shadows. Every gesture of yours will be a reminder that I still move through those who allow themselves to love. The abundance I have given you is eternal, and eternity is within you. Nothing can interrupt the flow that connects you to the source. I will be with you every step of the way, replenishing you every time you give. This is how the kingdom grows, not by force, but by overflowing love. Now, remain at peace. You don't need to chase after what already belongs to you. Just live connected to the source, and everything you need will come in due time. The channel doesn't force the water to pass through. It simply remains open. That's how I want you to live. Open, constant, confident. My abundance covers you and permeates you. And wherever you go, the earth will recognize the touch of heaven. Constancy is the dwelling place of those who belong to me. Many begin with enthusiasm, but few remain until the end. I did not call you to live for fleeting moments, but for perseverance. The faith that flourishes needs to be watered every day, even when the soil seems dry. The secret lies not in intensity, but in continuity. I do not ask you for haste, I ask for perseverance. My voice speaks not only in miracles, but also in the intervals between them. Learn to hear me when everything seems normal, when the sky is silent and the path seems repetitive. It is there that faithfulness is proven. Constancy is not the absence of emotion, it is the daily choice to continue. The world changes, the seasons pass, but whoever walks in, my voice never gets lost. You don't need to understand every direction, just follow the sound of peace. Peace is the tone of my voice. When it envelops you, it's a sign that you're on the right path. Even when the road seems narrow, trust. I don't lead you through shortcuts, but through safe paths. Consistency will protect you from distractions and keep you sensitive to the breath of the Spirit. I teach you to walk as one listens to music. There is rhythm, there is pause, there is movement. When you walk with me, your rhythm aligns with that of the sky. Do not run ahead of my time, nor stand still when I call you to move forward. Every step matters. What seems small is, in fact, part of the grand design. To be constant is to remain steadfast even when there is no applause. It is to serve even when no one is watching. It is to continue trusting even when the wind changes direction. Constancy is the shield of those who walk in faith. The enemy tries to tire you, but he cannot stop those who walk in rhythm with the promise. Listen to my voice in the still mornings and the quiet nights. I do not cease to speak, I simply speak in different ways. Sometimes I am the wind, sometimes the fire, sometimes the whisper. He who lives attentively understands that constancy is also listening. When you learn to remain in tune, your soul finds balance. There is a special power in continuing. Every time you say, "I still believe," the heavens move again. Constancy is the purest gesture of love, remaining even when the feeling is hidden, loving even when not reciprocated, serving even when there is silence. That is what I do with you every day. I remain. Therefore, I invite you, walk in my voice without deviating or retreating. With each step you take, new directions will be revealed. The path is not shown in its entirety, but I show you enough for today, and tomorrow I will show you the next stretch. This is how the journey with eternity is built, one step at a time, one trust at a time. If you wish to continue growing in my voice and walking steadily like this message, and subscribe to remain under my guidance and experience the next steps I have prepared for you. I made you to be constant like the sun that rises every day, even hidden behind clouds. There is beauty in repetition, there is strength in discipline. Constancy is what transforms faith into testimony. When the heart remains steadfast, heaven recognizes the sound of faithfulness. Don't let yourself be carried away by distractions. Not all movement is progress. Sometimes true advancement is remaining in the same place until the seed blossoms. What seems like stagnation is often rooting. Stand firm. Harvest time comes for those who do not abandon the field. Be steadfast and walk in my voice. It will be your compass when all seems dark, your rest when all is in turmoil, and your strength when you feel weak. Remain faithful to the sound that calls you, for I, who guide you, do not change. And whoever walks with me is never lost. Today is a new beginning. What seemed like an end to you is merely the point where my purpose changes shape. I am making all things new, not just around you, but within you. Something new is being born in your spirit, a strength that comes not from effort, but from renewal. What once weary you will now become light, and what limited you will lose its power over you. Today, a new cycle opens, and I invite you to walk in it with confidence. The past has served its purpose. You no longer need to carry the weight of past versions of yourself. All that was pain now transforms into wisdom, and all that was doubt becomes clarity. I clothe you with new hope, new direction, and a new vision. The old things are behind you, and from now on, everything moves under a new breath of my spirit. Witnessing the new is more than seeing something change. It's perceiving the invisible becoming real. It's understanding that the doors that closed were only redirecting you to the ones that are now opening. I help you see the purpose that was previously hidden. The new is not only different in what you see, it's new in what you feel, in what you think, in what you decide. Do not fear new beginnings. The new always frightens because it demands detachment, but it also liberates because it puts you back at the center of the promise. I took you from where you did not flourish and replanted you where the soil is fertile. Everything you sowed with tears now begins to sprout. The fruits will come, and they will come in abundance because the time of waiting is over. You were prepared for this moment. While you thought nothing was happening, I was sketching every detail of what is now beginning to manifest. What was once a sketch becomes form. What was once a seed is now a sprout, and what seemed forgotten now blossoms before your eyes. Write your confession of faith in the comments. Declare in your own words that something new has begun in your life, and testify to the movement that I have already started in you. The new thing I bring is not limited to what you can see. It touches your mind, your home, your paths, and your relationships. I restore what was broken, rebuild what was lost, and rekindle what has gone out. What once saddened you will now serve as a testimony. Yesterday's tears watered the soil of today's miracle. Don't look back, trying to understand what has passed. Look ahead and celebrate what is to come. I am not calling you to relive the past, but to rewrite your story from me. The new is not an improved repetition. It is a reality that has never existed before. It is a version of you that the world has not yet seen, shaped by grace and sustained by faith. Your constancy pleased me, and now I reward you with direction. The road that was once hazy begins to clear. What was once an attempt will now be certain. The time for drafts is over. The hour of revelation has arrived. All that was planted in silence will blossom before all, and your life will be a living testament to my power. Breathe in this new air. It brings healing, freedom, and joy. Today, I renew your strength and remake your dreams. Walk lightly, because nothing old holds you back anymore. I give you the privilege of starting over with wisdom, of beginning anew without going back. The new doesn't erase what you've lived, it gives meaning to what you've lived. Now move on, shine, bear witness, because what I do in you today will be a sign to many that I still begin stories when everyone believes it's over. The new has begun, and the new is you. Breathe, feel the air cross the threshold of your lips and touch the depths of your lungs. This simple movement is my oldest sign. I am here. I was the first breath upon the waters, and I am the breath that visits you now. Each breath reminds you that life is not a point, it is a flow. Nothing I have given you ends. Everything transforms and continues, like rivers that meet the sea and return to the clouds to rain again upon the earth. Breathe again, more slowly. Notice how your chest opens up to the new, and as you exhale, returns what has already served its purpose. This is my path in you. I give you cycles of grace. You receive them, you live them, and when the season fulfills its measure, you return to the Father in praise what He has entrusted to you. There is no loss in my process, there is harvest. There is no definitive end, there are passages. I am the one who watches over you while the world turns. I embrace you when the seasons change, when the calendar turns, when the silence seems too long. Do not be afraid of the feeling of closure. It is only the old shell giving way to the sprout that insists on being born. What you call an end, I call a journey. What you call the last page, I call the preface to the next chapter. There is an invisible compass governing everything. It pulses in the clock of the sky and in the clock of your heart. When you accept this compass, you stop fighting against the tide and begin to dance with the wave. I guide you in broad and serene movements, advance and rest, word and silence, work and rest. Do not fear the pauses. In the pause, I refine you. Do not fear the movement. In the movement, I strengthen you. You have learned to listen to me in the miracle. Learn now to listen to me in the interval between miracles. There, where nothing happens, everything happens. The soil seems still, but the roots work. But in depth, the seed does not show off, but it grows. The sky seems still, but it rotates entire constellations above your head. I govern this interval with the same attention with which I part seas and raise mountains. Look back without fear. Do you realize how each turn made sense? The tears that fell irrigated the paths along which you now walk lightly. The waiting that weighed you down trained your muscles of faith for constancy. The doors that closed were detours I spared you from taking. Everything that seemed out of sync was me, aligning your orbit. Now look ahead and realize the horizon has widened because your heart has grown bigger. Breathe. Allow peace to visit you like a tide that rises without violence. My rest is not inertia, it is dwelling. Resting in me does not paralyze you, it positions you. The heart that rests on my chest hears clearly what to do next. I do not call you to haste, I call you to precision. The right step at the right time with the right spirit that is eternity appearing within time. When you feel on the sidelines, remember, I don't live in straight lines. I live in spirals of growth. You will return to familiar places with renewed awareness. You will see old landscapes with healed eyes. The same desert will have a different light. The same journey will have a different courage. The path hasn't shrunk. You have grown inside. And because you have grown, you have fit into promises that once seemed too big for you. I teach you the art of starting over without abrupt ruptures. You begin again like someone who breathes, gently, continuously, confidently. Love doesn't push you, it attracts you. Grace doesn't demand anything from you, it empowers you. Truth doesn't hurt you, it sets you free. If you stumble, breathe. Forgiveness reaches you before you fall to the ground. If you tire, breathe. Strength is renewed mid-step. If you ask yourself, and now? Breathe. I answer in the interval between one beat and the next of your heart. Notice how the whole world participates in this silent worship. The tides obey the moon, the seasons obey the sun, the birds obey the dawn. Everything breathes my name, everything bows to my rhythm. You too, when you align yourself, you stop being dragged along by urgencies and start being moved by purpose. Your agenda learns to say yes to what remains and no to what only makes noise. Breathe, and let me tidy up the house from the inside. I turn off lights that distract you, open windows through which the day enters, gather what no longer serves you, and calmly weave the new garment that clothes you. I prepare you in silence so that you may shine effortlessly. The light that comes from me needs no proof, it simply illuminates. The peace I place within you needs no defense, it simply remains. Listen to me, nothing that is truly yours is rushed, and nothing that belongs to you in me is lost. I guard time as one guards jewels, and I deliver each piece at the exact moment. When it seems late, trust, perhaps it is ripe. When it seems early, trust, perhaps it is protection. When it seems stagnant, trust, perhaps it is root, and root is never a waste of time. Breathe again, like someone receiving an old yet ever new gift. I am giving you the now, and the now is the door through which eternity enters. Do not occupy this door with anxiety, keep it open with confidence. The future will not visit you through the corridor of haste, but through the garden of presence. Stay here with me, and everything you need to know will find you. When the world calls you to your end, respond with, my simple gospel, love never ends. Love is the road that crosses the night and dawns in the same place where it began. Love is the bond that does not break when the chapter changes. Love is the breath that sustains your story when the narrative falls silent. Love is what I am, and what I am envelops you without interruption. And as the last paragraph of this page approaches, remember, there is no period in what I write with you. There are breaths. One leaves, another enters, one season bids farewell, another arrives. And you, in the midst of this divine ebb and flow, learn to remain. Remain in me as the tree remains in the earth that nourishes it. Remain in me as the sea remains faithful to the moon. Remain in me as the heart remains faithful to the beat I gave it. So, without haste, allow your soul to incline toward the beginning, like one who returns to the source to drink once more. I will call you by the same path of tenderness with which I brought you here, and you will recognize my voice because it carries the fragrance of the first day. Nothing you have lived has been lost. Everything has been incorporated into your praise. The new beginning is not forgetting, it is the consecration of what you have learned. Breathe, because what begins now never ends. And as you feel the air touch your chest like an ancient kiss from the Creator, return to the beginning, where I await you with the same tenderness as always. Take a deep breath. Allow this moment to reach your heart.